Well, moving on now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is visiting the iconic Melbourne Cricket Ground as he concludes his visit to Australia. But later today, he will depart for New Zealand, the final stop of his three-nation tour. With cricket becoming the powerful pitch for India-Australia ties, PM Modi's visit to the ground comes as both the countries are looking to deepen their cricketing partnership. Well, according to reports, Australia's Big Bash League is set to stage a match at Chennai's M.A. Chidambaram Stadium this December. Cricket Australia is also hopeful the fixture will become an annual event and has extended an open invitation to the BCCI to explore hosting IPL matches in Australia in the future. Well, these were the live visuals from Melbourne Cricket Ground as Prime Minister Narendra Modi concludes his visit to Australia. Earlier, Prime Minister Narendra Modi met with Australia's Leader of the Opposition, Angus Taylor, during his official state visit to Melbourne. On Thursday, Prime Minister Narendra Modi received a rousing welcome as he addressed a massive Indian community gathering at Melbourne's iconic Marvel Stadium. Highlighting the growing India-Australia partnership, PM Modi credited the Indian diaspora with bringing the two countries closer.
पिछले 12 वर्षों में मैं तीसरी बार यहां आया हूं। यानी इस बार हैट्रिक लगी है।
Before addressing the community gathering, Prime Minister Narendra Modi held bilateral talks with Australian Prime Minister Albanese after attending a business forum. The two leaders reaffirmed their commitment to strengthening the India-Australia Comprehensive Strategic Partnership. They pledged to deepen defence and security cooperation and unveiled a roadmap to boost maritime security collaboration. Well, both sides also reiterated their commitment to a free, open and rules-based Indo-Pacific while expanding cooperation in critical minerals, resilient supply chains, cybersecurity, clean energy, space, technology and education. An agreement was also signed to enable uranium supplies for India's civil nuclear energy program. Well, Australia has also announced the repatriation of 3 Indian artifacts. The 3 artifacts being returned to India include a metal trident of the goddess Bhadrakali, a stone idol of Nandi, and a stone idol of the 6-headed Kartikeya. All 3 artifacts come from Tamil Nadu, specifically from the districts of Thanjavur and Thiruvarur. Well, our correspondent Dasuni Thauda is now joining us live from Melbourne Cricket Ground. Well, Dasuni, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said that Melbourne now has several neighbourhoods that many proudly call Mini India. So how do you see that shift in the Indian community's presence shaping the India-Australia relationship both socially and politically?
Absolutely. The Indian community in Australia is quite vital for any and every industry here in Australia, given that Indians are now the second largest community after Australians since the Federation of Australia. So Indians are not a small number here in Australia, especially going beyond the borders and the concepts of the Commonwealth, culture and cricket. Indians here are quite prominent. So given that there are areas, especially all across Melbourne, that showcase and highlight the best that India has to offer by way of culture, curry and food is quite an important and integral part of Australia, which a lot of Australians, both locally and globally, do understand. And given the very latest, Prime Minister Narendra Modi just arrived here at the MCG, where he is expected to take a tour of the Melbourne Cricket Ground and also holds discussions with authorities to understand the commercial viability between the two cricket-playing nations.
Correct, Dasuri. Well, this was described as a one-of-a-kind event, an Indian Prime Minister addressing a massive community gathering at Marvel Stadium. So what does this kind of public, high-profile engagement tells us about how both the countries want to position the Indian diaspora in their bilateral ties?
Well, I think Prime Minister Narendra Modi himself used cricket terms to explain the India-Australia relationship, where he said that the pace at which India-Australia ties are developing is likened to a T20 match, while the seriousness of this relationship was likened to an ODI match, and the longevity of India-Australia ties were likened to a steady test match. So this is a very serious partnership, not just for India, but also for Australia, given that both countries do share more than just culture and the Commonwealth at this point.
Right, and Dasuni, Prime Minister credited the Indian diaspora for bringing the two nations closer. Well, beyond these powerful messages, what concrete steps or initiatives do you think are now, needed to turn that people-to-people bond into deeper cooperation in trade, education and mobility?
I think the initial steps are well in progress. It's just, I think, with time, when we see all of these signings that were agreed upon yesterday put into fruition, that's when we will see the real efforts of this of this two-day meet really come into play. And at the same time, like I said, Australia is a very well-known territory for Indians and vice versa too. So only time will tell as to how this relationship further blossoms and strengthens between the two countries.
Right, Dasuni. Well, thank you so much for getting us all those updates. We are tracking this very closely and we'll keep our viewers posted. Thank you so much for joining.